Hello, my wonderful bookish friends. My name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you are here today. I am going to be talking about some books that have a ballet theme to them. And that is because tomorrow, Wednesday, November 2nd, is World Ballet Day. So I thought it was perfect timing for this. The first book that I'm going to be talking about is the one that I've read most recently. And so I did not actually read this when I was a child, even though it is a middle grade children's book. I believe it was written originally in like 1937. And it is about three orphans who are being raised by someone who's kind of like their uncle, but he isn't technically their uncle. I believe he was a paleontologist. And so this family that they end up with, they have sort of a, I guess you would call it a genteel poverty about them. And so they decide to get the girls into theater because they think that maybe they can help make a little bit of money, which I know to us today seems a little bit like, what? You're going to make your kids work? But I guess probably in 1937, it wasn't that novel of an idea. Although they seem to live in an expensive part of town. That's my dog shaking, by the way. So maybe they should have just moved to a cheaper area. But it is a touching story of these three girls and their interests and their relationships with others. So I definitely recommend this. I think that girls of any time period would really enjoy it, even though it was written in 1937. My daughter really loved it. My daughter does some ballet casually, so this was a really good one. The next one, I'm going to have to put a picture up because it is at my mother's house. Actually, the next two are at my mother's house on their bookshelves of my childhood books. And the first one I'll be talking about is also middle grade, called Drina series, and my favorite in the series was Drina Dances Alone. And what do you know? Drina is an orphan. It seems to be a recurring theme. And it talks about her training and who she meets and dealing with the struggles of being a ballet and training. This was written, I believe, in the 1950s and the 1960s. So there's no talk of children, with cell phones or anything like that. It's very old school. She goes to a ballet training and Drina Dances Alone center kind of a little bit more out in the country. She's used to being a little bit more in London. There's books where she goes to New York City, where she goes to Italy. And I just love that. That world. I really enjoyed those books when I was a little girl. The next one I'm going to talk about is a funny series, and it is called Bad News Ballet. And I believe most of these were written in the late 80s, so I read it as a kid in the 1990s. And so these are groups of misfit young ladies who, they're not the perfect body type. They're not necessarily the most natural dancers. They just kind of end up there and they audition for the Nutcracker, and they're not really exactly sure how they got in. They run out from rehearsal to go have milkshakes in very ballet form. You can tell it is not current times because I remember distinctly, and I haven't read this book in years. I was a child last time I read it. They sneak out, they go have a milkshake, they say this is the best milkshake they've ever had, and the lady or the man that is running the shop says, that's because we put peanut butter in it. Can you imagine now putting peanut butter in something and not telling someone beforehand that they're having peanut butter? I mean, the food allergens now are so much worse, it seems like. So that's just something that would be like, nope, in today's day and age. But they are so cute. And I think it's a good message because it just shows you don't have to be the perfect, what we call in the dance world, bunhead to be a ballet dancer and to enjoy ballet. I know there's such a stereotype that we're supposed to be in. I experienced it myself. At my very skinniest, I saw a picture of me the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so skinny. I almost looked like a skeleton. I had been told it would be nice if you could get down about 10 more pounds. So these books are not triggering in that area. I could definitely tell you books that are triggering if you want to stay away from those, but I think that for the most part, they're okay. Now, these were written in past times, so there may be some things that are politically incorrect nowadays that I have forgotten about and I don't remember. If that's the case, I'm sorry. There are a couple of things that are missing from this list. One is just wide representation. Books that were written about ballet. There aren't a lot that I found currently, but a lot of them do not necessarily include people of different nationalities and colors. The other thing is it's really hard to find some stories that represent the young gentlemen that are taking ballet because, of course, we can't do ballet without the guys. We just can't. Ladies, we can't lift ourselves. We have to have those men, and not just to support us, but because their work is so important. Their solos, their variations that they do in ballets, we cannot replace the men. So we need somebody to write a story about the gentlemen in the ballet world. Well, thank you for joining me for my World Ballet Day bookish video. I hope you're doing well. I would really appreciate if you would like and subscribe. And if you've made it all the way to the end, see if there's a ballet shoe emoji. If not, just give me some sort of dancing emoji. Have a great day. Read a lot. Bye-bye.